A man with a U.S. immigration judge's own order in his file, a legal protection saying he cannot be sent back to his home country because his life would be in danger there, could still end up on a plane to Liberia, a country he's never set foot in, a country that has nothing to do with his case at all. On August 19, 2026, Liberian officials confirmed something most Americans and most immigrants still don't fully understand about how deportation actually works right now. Liberia has agreed to accept up to 1,200 deportees from the United States over the next year, and according to the Associated Press, almost none of them are Liberian. The first 20 are expected to land in Monrovia on August 20th. Here's the mechanism, and it's simpler and stranger than most headlines make it sound. This is called third country deportation. Instead of sending someone back to the country they actually came from, the U.S. sends them somewhere else entirely, a country that agrees, often through a quiet diplomatic deal, to simply take them in. Liberia's information minister, Geraldine McPia, confirmed the incoming group includes Africans, but also people from North America, South America, and the Caribbean. Not one shared homeland, just a shared destination, arranged by paperwork most of them never saw coming. Why does a country agree to take in people who aren't its own citizens? Follow the money, because it explains almost everything. According to reporting from VisaVerge, the arrangement comes with roughly $124 million in U.S. aid for Liberian health services, plus something else Liberia clearly wanted. The validity of B1 over B2 tourist and business visas for Liberian citizens just got extended from 12 months to 36. And Liberia isn't alone in this. Similar deals now exist with the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Central African Republic, Ghana, and Sierra Leone. Roughly 10 African countries total are part of this pattern, out of nearly 24 third country arrangements worldwide. Think about what that actually looks like for one specific person caught in it. Picture someone who fled a country years ago, won a case in front of a U.S. immigration judge, proving that returning home would put their life at risk, and has been quietly rebuilding a life here ever since. A job, an apartment, maybe kids in school. None of that history involves Liberia in any way. They've never been there. They don't speak the language. They have no family, no community, nothing waiting for them. And under one of these arrangements, none of that matters, because the flight isn't going home. It's going wherever the paperwork says. Here's where it gets genuinely alarming, and it's the part immigration lawyers are raising loudest right now. Some of the people caught in these arrangements aren't undocumented in the way you'd assume. According to reporting from TPR and NPR, these deals can involve migrants who already hold a formal protection order from a U.S. immigration judge, a legal finding that sending them back to their home country specifically would put their safety at risk. That protection was never designed to have a loophole. But sending someone to a third country instead of their home country doesn't technically violate that order. It just walks around it. Immigration attorneys describe this pattern bluntly. It's being used to indirectly force people back toward danger without ever technically breaking the rule that was supposed to stop exactly that. The uncomfortable part is how quietly all of this has been built. NPR's reporting describes these as often secret agreements, negotiated country by country, almost never announced by the U.S. government itself. The public usually only learns a deal exists when the receiving country holds its own press conference, the way Liberia just did. That means there's no single moment where any of this got debated publicly before it started happening. No headline saying, the U.S. just signed its first third country removal deal. Just a slow accumulation of arrangements, each one small enough on its own to avoid becoming the kind of story that dominates a news cycle, until you add them up and realize nearly 24 countries are now part of the same, quiet pattern. If this is the kind of update you don't want to miss, subscribe now, because these third country arrangements keep expanding country by country, and most of them are never announced publicly until after they're already signed. Liberia's own government has pushed back on the darker framing. Justice Minister Natu Oswald Twe told reporters at the August 18th briefing that the country has already screened the incoming list, adding plainly that most of them are people with immigration violations and offenses on record. Pia went further, framing Liberia's role as a humanitarian one, and indicated arriving deportees would have the option to pursue asylum in Liberia or depart the country on their own terms. Whether that framing holds up once actual people start arriving on actual flights is a separate question. And it's exactly the kind of claim worth watching closely rather than accepting at face value from either side. Step back, and the real story here isn't really about Liberia specifically. It's about a pattern that's been quietly built, country by country, mostly outside public view. DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen has described the broader removal campaign in blunt terms, framing every deportation as a step toward what the department calls a safer country. What doesn't get said as loudly is how many of those removals now route through a country that has nothing to do with the person being removed at all, and how a legal protection that was supposed to mean something can end up meaning very little once a deal like this one exists. So what does this actually mean if you or someone you know has any kind of protection order, pending case, or removal proceeding in the system right now? It means the destination on a removal order isn't automatically your home country anymore. And it isn't automatically predictable either. If you have a protection order specifically preventing return to your home country, that protection is worth understanding in detail with an attorney. Not just whether it exists, but exactly what it does and doesn't cover. Because third country removal is precisely the gap these arrangements are built to use. There's a broader lesson here too, even for people with no pending case at all. Immigration policy right now often doesn't announce itself. It gets built quietly, deal by deal, country by country, and the people most affected are frequently the last to find out any of it happened, sometimes only when a plane is already boarding. If you're tracking immigration policy generally, this is worth remembering as one piece of a much larger, quieter pattern. Deals signed without headlines, discovered only when a country's government holds its own press conference to explain what it just agreed to. This video is for general information only and does not constitute legal advice. It reflects reporting from the Associated Press, NPR, TPR, and VisaVerge current as of August 19, 2026, and further details about these arrangements may still emerge. Anyone with a pending removal case or an existing protection order should speak with a qualified immigration attorney about how third country removal could specifically apply to them. Subscribe, because the next country to sign one of these deals probably won't make headlines either, until someone like Liberia holds a press conference to explain it after the fact.